Hey, there I am live. Yeah, I've been a little under the weather lately. Last Tuesday, I got a frog in my throat now. Last Tuesday, I was feeling fairly sick, so I didn't do a show. And I ended up by about 10 o'clock in the evening. I had a pretty high fever, so I decided to go in and let me kill that thing so it doesn't make any more noise. I went into the emergency room because I'm still close enough after surgery. Spiking a high fever all of a sudden isn't a good thing. So they dicked around, and finally come up with, I have COVID. Well, that's grand. All these years of pandemic and post pandemic, I haven't had COVID yet until just now. And after the surgery part of it has been great. Healing up really good, no problems with anything like that. But the kind of secondary things have been driving me nuts. First, I had the AFib for about 3 weeks, couldn't get that settled down. I finally got my heart back to a normal rhythm. Then my blood pressure started running amok because they had taken me off all of my blood pressure medication when they did the surgery, and it spiked up fairly high. Started getting back on my medications, and now it's not out of control. It's nothing dangerous, but it's kind of all over the place right now. And it's a bit higher than it should be. But one of the side effects of COVID is it tends to run your blood pressure up. So once I stabilize and settle down, we'll see how that's doing. Like I said, finally got the blood pressure more or less stabilized, and I end up with COVID. Luckily, we caught it early enough that I could use it's an antiviral you can take if you catch it within the first few days of having COVID, and it shuts things down a lot faster. And it did. I only really had the bad cough for about a day and a half, 2 days, and that settled down pretty quick, which is good because I really didn't need a big nasty cough. Will you settle down, you silly cat? Minnie's got herself wedged in here and she's trying to get comfortable. Not having much luck at it, apparently. Anyway, got the uh, got the cough under control pretty quick, and right now, the fever's gone. I test negative and all of that. My sinuses still haven't drained though, so I got a nasty head full of snot. But other than that, things are slowly getting better. I got outside today and mowed some of the lawn. It's starting to go dormant, which is good, but I haven't been able to mow it since the surgery, and I probably shouldn't be running around on a riding lawnmower yet, but it had to be done. I got to get it knocked down, at least close to the house where I got to work. But things are improving, and I finally got set up with cardiac rehab. Mostly, I'm trying to get it so that I can get the strength back in my arms and upper body so I can get back to work. With the cardiac rehab, usually, it's people who are post heart attack, have heart damage, and things like that they need to overcome. The funny part about all of this is, even though I had to have open heart surgery, there's nothing really wrong with my heart itself. It was my aorta and the aortic valve that were drastically bad condition, needed to be dealt with. But my actual heart muscle is fine. I didn't need any bypasses. Everything's nice and clear and where it should be. So it's going to be a little bit different with the cardiac rehab. But like I said, mostly I want to be able to get my upper body strength back so that I can, have to get back to work here eventually. I'm not in a huge hurry. But I do have to do it before I run out of paid time off for this foolishness. But anyhow, say hi to some folks here. We got RT Scott, Cynthia Wesley is here, Jim's here, Billy Lee, nice to see you. And yeah, I'm feeling good enough to do a show tonight. So, gonna do, we'll look at some stuff on Goodwill because it's fairly easy. And I wanted to show you these. I got these for $5 for the two of them. They're brand new. They're made in China. They're Grip brand. Paid $5 for two trivets. Might be able to find that on Amazon if you need a trivet for a Dutch oven. But they're nice little trivets and perfectly serviceable. And I don't know what they would cost, if you bought them brand new on Amazon or something like that. But I got these two for $5 for the both of them, so I was tickled with that. And good thing to have. Anyway, Jim 44, Dan's here. Got to check out a couple of cast iron lids and skillets. Shocked at the prices. Yeah, there's a couple of lids by themselves that we'll show you here on the Goodwill thing. One went for a really huge price, but I can see why. And you'll see that here in a little bit. I gotta get caught back up on my comments. RT Scott, Flash is here. Good to see you, Flash. Ronald Coward. Rocket Caver, always nice. Let's see, Ronald. Said hi to Ronald. Past 10, 15 days, I had to spend ridiculous amounts of money on things I weren't expecting. House breakdowns, car repairs. Better to do it now than when it gets cold. Yeah, usually around here it's long after it gets cold. If I had a nickel for every time I had to fix something when it was 30 below, I wouldn't need any more nickels. Let's see. Yeah, Dan just put a new metal roof off. Yeah, it ain't cheap. I did mine myself. I had some help doing it, but it was a lot cheaper doing it yourself than having it done. But yeah, he doesn't have me or Billy Lee's money, so. Do William Hurt? Yes, I'm doing pretty well. Like I said, finally got started rehab. I was supposed to do it last week, get started on it, but I got sick, so. And Cynthia got some cast iron given to her, and that's always nice. Snothead. Yeah, I got the damn. Still got the damned thing. Burnt toast, nice to see you. Just wanted to stop by and say I hope I'm feeling better. I am. I'm feeling a fair bit better. Still got a head full of snot, but other than that, pretty good. Sheila Pearson, good to see you. Yeah, COVID's an awful thing to deal with. Yeah, I was lucky enough that the Paxlovid, I think is what it's called, managed to shut it down so I didn't have a week of hacking, coughing, because that would have been really bad because my chest is still sore. I mean, the breastbone is still sore. It's not really painful, but it's achy, sore, and still ain't healed yet. And it's going to be a while yet. But it's going to take a while for that to get caught up. And I really don't need to be coughing and hacking right now. Rick Stambaugh, good to see you. Just about caught up, I think, with the. Well, no, I guess not. Comments got way ahead of me all of a sudden. Trying to skip through, get scanned here. Did you get your well fixed? I'm still fighting with that damn thing. I'm going to have to pull it up again and dick around with it. It's just a huge pain. Mucinex to help with the congestion. Yeah, I use a lot of cough syrup. It's got the same thing as Mucinex in it, and that really got it up. Oh, if you ever have to take that antiviral for COVID, it gives you just the nastiest taste in your mouth. It's not that the pills themselves taste bad. It's they give you this nasty, bitter taste that just does not go away. I finished them up yesterday. Still got a little bit of that flavor. But that'll finally settle down here another day or so, I should think. Yeah, I finally caught up with everything. I showed you these things. And before we get going, brandy is supposed to be good for the heart. So I'm going to start my cardiac therapy now. Pour myself a nice slug of brandy before we get into the Goodwill stuff. Yeah, it's nice. Your car needs tires. Yeah, I had to put new tires on mine before too long. Right. Not too long ago. Debbie's here. Good to see you. A weed ram. Yes, indeed. Anyhow, let me get this here set up. And let's see, present. Share screen. Yeah, I could have done this beforehand, but I didn't. There we go. Should be able to see them pretty good. First off here, can't remember if this is a number. I think it's just a 12-inch. I think it's number 9 or 10. $180 for that. A Griswold skillet and lid. But it's got the skillet cover. Those usually go for a bit more than a can't think. That's number 9 is what that is. Large logo skillet. The skillet covers are usually more expensive than a Dutch oven. You know, the skillet covers have the little ears that cover the spouts on a skillet. About $180 for a number 9 with a lid. Number 9 lids are usually fairly spendy, so it's not hugely out of line for what you'd pay. It's expensive though. And you know, I wouldn't pay quite that much for them, but it's not, like I say, it's not hugely out of line for the going rate for them. What was next? Oh, an Onetta. Wapak was made in Wapakoneta, Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. Made in Wapakoneta anyway. And they used the Wapak, the first half of the town's name, for their brand name. But they also made, towards the end of their run, they made a budget line called Onetta. And this doesn't give you a decent close-up of it. I have one of these, and it just says Onetta, which was the other half of Wapakoneta. And they're a good bit smaller. A number 8 is actually about the size of a number 7, which this is probably what it is. It's probably marked a number 8, but they're a lot smaller. And $51 isn't a bad price for them. That's kind of the going rate for them. They don't go for as much as you would usually think they would, because they are pretty scarce. I mean, you don't see them very often. They only made them for a few years towards the end of Wapak's existence, so they're not real common. But you know, $51 for them. I haven't seen sizes other than number 8, which, like I said, is pretty small for an 8. It's about the size of a number 7. but there might be. I don't know for sure exactly what all was made with the Onetta names on them. But yeah, they're pretty decent little skillets, and they're an interesting thing. So let me back this up. Get rid of him. And this is interesting. They have the description wrong for the pictures. Now, if this is what they actually sent, or if you kind of got to go by the pictures for what they say it is. They say it's a unmarked, gate marked skillet. It's not. It isn't gate marked at all. And let's see, where's the best picture of the back? I think that's the only picture of the back. Oh, there's one more. I know there is. The hell am I missing? Anyway, it's a number 9, or actually, it's a number 10. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a favorite Smiley, number 10. Went for $51. I was going to bid on it, and I don't know why the hell I didn't. I must have been sleeping. But, for number 10 favorite, that is a hell of a good price. But it's not a gate mark skillet. They got, the description of gate mark skillets on it and all of that. But it ain't. They definitely mismarked it. Let's see here, get back. Your truck broke and it costs money to get home, then it's going to cost you money to fix it. Yeah, jump on that Onetta for that price. Yeah, somebody got a hell of a good deal on that. Like I said, they don't usually go for quite as much money as you would think for as scarce as they are. And, I'm sure a lot of people don't know what they are for that matter. Let's see here. Did you do... what's a good price for a gate mark that size? Prices are kind of all over on gate marks. It depends a lot on how fancy the handles are. If you have the real fancy tulip handles. But for a big gate mark, like something 12-inch or so, usually anywhere from 125 on up, 150. Sometimes you see them a bit cheaper than that. But yeah, for big gate marked ones, they usually go for pretty good money. Onettas were made in 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, okay, yeah. All I've ever seen are the 8s. And like I said, the number 8 I've got is pretty small. It's like I said, it's probably the size of a number 7, even a smallish number 7 for that matter. For a 10-inch gate mark, 10-inch gate mark skillets you can find anywhere from $50 on up usually. They're usually not hugely expensive, but sometimes you get a bidding war going, and all of a sudden everybody wants one. This is a chicken fryer. Went for $51. Which one was this? There's a couple of them that I got. Oh, this it's hard to see. It's got a fair bit of buildup on it, but I'm pretty sure this is a hammered Wagner. Most of the Wagner hammered stuff is unmarked. Might just have a pattern letter on it, but it's usually unmarked. But if you can see it better, the hammering is pretty distinctive. It's got kind of a leopard print animal pattern to it. But that's what that is, and that was they go for $51. That's about what they go for. Usually with a lid, you can get them for They go for 75 to 75 to 100 with a lid, a nice hammered one, especially if they have real nice, deep, distinct hammering on it. Hammered Wag is a good one. Yeah, I really like the hammering on hammered Wagnerware stuff. Okay, let's see. Just did that one. Oh, here's a Dutch oven. This went for $23. I mean, that's dirt cheap for a Dutch oven of any kind. Somebody got a pretty good deal on it. And for the life of me, I can never remember what the pattern, who made this, the lid at least. But that pattern on a lid, it's got the little spiky drip tips on it. But I can never remember who the hell made that. And yeah, I can't remember. There's the bottom of the Dutch oven. It's got a fair bit of buildup on it. But yeah, I can't remember who did that. If somebody wants to remind me. But $23, you're not going to you don't see any Dutch ovens, for that price. Usually kind of a generic price on a Dutch oven is $40-50, for a Dutch oven with a lid. Never seen that, but it looks like a Griswold cross. Kind of, but somebody's told me before what that is, but can't remember for the life of me. Been busy week camping with the Cub Scouts in Gettysburg. The reenactment actors use modern Asian cast iron pans instead of gate marked. Well, not exactly accurate, but a lot cheaper if you leave your pan behind. Merit, isn't it? It could be. Like I said, I've been told, but for the life of me, I can't remember, who did that. And there's enough buildup on the bottom of let me bring it back up here. There's enough buildup on the bottom of the Dutch oven that you can't quite make out any names. But it could very well be a Merit. Yeah, the spiked lid, the Lodge, but Lodge is kind of the opposite. I mean, it's a cross shape, but it's solid in the middle. It doesn't have the the four little segments. They're all in one bunch. But yeah, Lodge has has little spikes like that. But anyway, yeah, somebody got a hell of a good deal for $23 for that. Get that one out of there. Which is this was $12 for a chicken fryer with no lid. I think this was a Lodge, maybe. Yeah, it looks like a Lodge. Yeah, it's definitely got at least one notch in the heat ring. So yeah, a Lodge without a lid, and that's number 8 size chicken fryer. Pretty much any number 8 Lodge lid would fit that. So $12 for a chicken fryer, pretty damn good deal on that. And this was not too bad of a deal. This is a big number 12. It's got a lid. I think that's a Lodge or BSR. But a number 12 with a lid for $130 is a pretty good deal, no matter how you slice it. You don't find, yeah, it's BSR. Or no, it isn't. That's a Lodge. It's got got notches in the heat ring, but you don't find number 12 lids very often. So it's definitely worthwhile for 130 bucks. Only bad part was you missed out on a 17 quart Magnolite for 120 bucks. Yeah, I got, well, coming right up here is a Magnolite. 130 is a great deal. The prices come down on a lot of the stuff, but some of the Magnolites still, you're still looking at 200 to 300 for a lot of the bigger stuff. This was a nice little Pequot, nice favorite uh, Dutch oven. 81 bucks. Got the lid for it. Let's see, they show you the bottom. There you go. Number 8, favorite Smiley Dutch oven. Yeah, 81 bucks is not too bad of a price for them. Let's see here, get caught back up here. Okay, there we can go. Yeah, this one here went for 216. That's a big a 12 quart stock pot Magnolite. And the stock pots and the oval roasters, the Magnolite ones, this is a little bit newer, from the 70s, 70s, 80s, but that isn't terribly important. The the newer Magnolite stuff, or the bigger Magnolite stuff, the big stock pots, the 12 quart stock pots and the big oval roasters, the couple of, top end, the, 7s, 9s, the big ones. Those are still going for a couple of $100 a piece. A lot of the smaller stuff, the Dutch ovens and the skillets and the saucepans, have kind of settled down, but yeah, I don't see the the big roasters and the big stock pots coming down a whole lot more on the Maglite. I'm afraid the price is pretty much what it's going to be. All right, what's this is oh yeah, this is kind of cool. They got to see. This is a small logo number 12 Griswold skillet. Number 12s, even the small logo ones, they all have heat rings on them. Number 12 and bigger Griswolds. So, if they're trying to sell you, it's a super rare number 12 with a heat ring. No. Even though they got rid of heat rings on everything else when they went with the small logo, they still kept them on number 12 and bigger. And like I say, you can see that's a nice number 12, small logo, $236. And right next to it, as soon as this catches up with itself, right next to it, there should be a large logo, number 12, $333. So there's still a difference in price between large and small logo skillets. The thing is that they're the same damn skillet for the most part. I mean, most of them are made on the same, even made on the same patterns. Some of them just got reworked for the smaller logo. Yeah, I mean, the big logo looks better. It says cast iron skillet and kind of fills up the back of back of the pan a little better, and it's more appealing. But really, they're the same skillet, and getting it for $100 cheaper just because it's a small logo, it's a pretty nice deal because they're going to cook the same. There's no practical differences between them. But like I say, there's more demand for the large logo stuff, and there's the small logo. It's just the nature of the things. But on the plus side, you can get, if you want a Griswold skillet, you can usually get a small logo one a good bit cheaper, and there's no real difference between them other than the size of the logo. Pat Z is here. Good to see you, Pat. Somebody got a pretty good deal on this. $61 for a slant logo Griswold Erie. Doesn't have the Erie PA USA. It just says Erie. This is a fairly early skillet. It's a number 8. And I don't see any cracks or dings or anything that would. Let's see here. That's kind of weird. Kind of a poorly formed number on the handle. But I don't see any cracks or anything that would run the price down. And $61 for that. Usually they go 125, 150 easy for something like that. And I got no idea why it went for that low of a price, but somebody got a hell of a nice deal on that. Melanie Matson, good to see you. Yeah, Ronald, that's a decent price. Yeah, that's definitely a decent price for that. Need a sip here. Okay, this little pile here was interesting because one of these is a number 4 Wagner. You can see the number 4 there, but they only show the back of one. That's like a Wagner 1891. That looks like just a basic number 5 Wagner. That one, can't quite see the number on it. It's probably a 3, but they only show the one back. But they say they're all Wagners, 4 Wagner skillets. So, $100 with the number 4 in there. That's pretty much what whoever was buying it for. And that's about what a number 4 Wagner goes for. They don't go for quite as much as a Griswold number 4, which we've got right here. Can't remember. Okay, that's a large logo. Number 4 for $140. That's pretty much the going rate for those. I've seen them go higher. Kind of runs in spurts. The prices on number 4s. Sometimes everybody wants one, and sometimes they're fairly reasonable. But yeah, $140 is kind of an average price for a large logo Griswold. If had a heat ring, those go for a fair bit more. They're even less common than just number 4. I have medium slant logo Griswold. Like I said, that was a hell of a nice price on that slant logo Griswold. And here's some Griswold aluminum. Nice size oval roaster. You don't see a whole lot of Griswold aluminum, but they did make aluminum ware like Wagner pretty much right from the start. Pretty much from the early 1890s on. They were in the cast aluminum business. Let me see here, a little bit better picture there. You see, it's the logo on that. I think they had one better picture of the backside, but maybe that's it. Number 9, enlarge it a bit there, cast aluminum oval roaster. And yeah, you don't really think about it a whole lot, but Griswold did make a fair bit of aluminum ware. You see a lot of the aluminum kettles. I've shown you a couple of mine. Where's Minnie? Minnie is right there next to me. I showed her at the beginning of the show, and I'll show her here later once we get done with that. About $122. That's not too bad of a price for it. And I think number 9 is the bigger size. I don't think they don't seem to mention the a measurement on it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the larger size of their aluminum oval roasters. And I put this on the Facebook page, and nobody bid on it. Kind of surprising. I've got one just like this. It's got the rack in it and everything. Figured for sure one of you guys would bid $11 for it, but nobody did. So it might get relisted, it might not. But those are really nice big roaster. I know they had another one that was for sale. I don't know if it's sold yet. It didn't have the rack, and this one here might get relisted somewhere along the line or not. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised nobody jumped on the chance to get that. And let's see, that's a made in Norway Jodel waffle iron. I think these 2 steel skillets are with it. Whoops. Product in Norway. Made in Norway. And yeah, the 2 skillets got the base for it. And that's a heart-shaped Jodel, Jotul is the name on them. It's cooking with cast iron is really making a comeback. You see more and more. Yeah, the last 10, 15 years, there's really been a renaissance in cast iron. A lot of people, there was a big panic over aluminum causing Alzheimer's, which it doesn't really. And a lot of worry about the health effects of Teflon, which is a more legitimate concern than the aluminum. Animals know when you're sick and they say, stay by your side. Yeah, she'll either, here the last couple of weeks, she'll either be curled up nice and cuddly and sleeping next to me, or she'll be attacking, biting my feet and being just a general pain in the ass. So, but yeah, that's kind of why we're here, is because a lot of people are really getting into cast iron. If you just want to cook with it, most of us, we collect and restore and that sort of thing with cast iron, because there's tons of cool stuff out there. But if you just want to cook with it, there's a lot of good stuff out there pretty inexpensively. Even a lot of the new stuff, Lodge cast iron, you're not going to go far wrong if you just want to try cooking with iron. This is another aluminum Griswold thing. That's number 9 aluminum Dutch oven. Cast aluminum, tight top, slant logo. Like I said, a lot of this is a good bit older than most people would really think of. PM Farm, a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you much. It's always greatly appreciated when people support my habits. I can always get more stuff. And thank you a whole lot. It was very kind of you. But yeah, Griswold Manufacturing, cast aluminum. And that's a pretty nice shape one. I don't think it has a trivet with it, but other than that, $111. It's probably less than you would pay for a cast iron number 9. In fact, I'm pretty sure I know it is. Let's see here. Let's see. This is a Griswold number 90 double skillet. You got a chicken fryer bottom, and you got a skillet lid, and they're a pretty handy thing. I mean, you can see the lid has a ridge that nests down inside the inside of the chicken fryer bottom, and they're definitely a nice thing. I mean, there's a lot of variations. These Griswold, Wagner made a lot of them, but like I said, Wagner made a lot of them. Lodge, you see quite a few, but the the skillet lid and the chicken fryer bottom really was a popular thing because they're useful as hell, because you got a chicken fryer and a skillet all in one. Let's see, which is this? I guess it was an Erie. What was the sticker? Oh, that was just number 7. A number 7 Griswold. $66. That's a decent price for them. I've seen them go a little bit more, but that's about the going rate for number 7s. Let's see here. I think this is just a chicken fryer with a lid. $165, which is a bit much for a chicken fryer, but it's a pretty decent one. It's the 777. Okay, getting towards the bottom. This was really cool. They call that a button logo. Griswold, $329 for just a lid. Seems to be really insane. But that is a number 5 skillet lid. And you just don't see number 5 lids. I mean, they're rare as hell. You're probably going to see maybe 1 or 2 more of these in your lifetime. So, yeah, $300 is going to be what they sell for, just because something like that is what they sell for, because they're rare as hell. Let's see, back up here. Don't get to catch the live shows very often, but favorite shows going over the auction and the history of the old foundries. Yeah, I got to do a little more history here pretty soon. But yeah, it's fun to go through the, see what the prices are, what stuff is going for. You at least get some idea of, what things cost. Let's see here. Keep healing. You got to bounce. Well, I'll see you around next time. First round of Major League Baseball wild card is starting. Hopefully your team pulls through if they made it this far. Anyhow, yeah, $329, and it's rare enough to justify that price. You're just not going to find one otherwise. These are Mrs. Wheelock's Rosette irons. I kind of think they had something to do with Alfred Anderson. These guys are based in Minneapolis too. There were a couple of different kind of Scandinavian themed import companies, making Rosette irons, Krumkak irons, things like that. I'm not sure if they were related or not. I was going to bid on these, and I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't get them. So maybe I did. I forget. Let's see. Here's a big old skillet. 21.5 inch. No, it's not. Well, it's 21.5, including the tab and the handle. It's number 14. $300. I think this is a number 14 BSR. Maybe not. Yeah, that's number 14 Birmingham Stove and Range. $300 is kind of high for that. I mean, I've seen them a lot cheaper than that. Usually they go for about 150, honestly. But I've seen them sell for a hell of a lot less than that. So must have got a bit of a bidding war going on that, or they thought it was actually 21.5 inches, which would have been worth $300. But yeah, like I say, number 14. 150 is what I usually see them selling for. Even so, even if it isn't 21 inches, they're a good 16 inches or so. So it's a hell of a big skillet. But yeah, I think somebody got in a bidding war on that and thought it was bigger than it actually was. Don't hit your head on the corner of your dresser. Yeah, I can imagine how you found that out. I'll try not to. You have to pay a cooking yours again. You're too old and fragile. Yeah, that's a hell of a chunk of iron to move around. Let's see, which was this? 53 vintage unbranded black cast iron skillet. There was one that was, not sure if this is the one. I don't think so. Yeah, I think this is just an unmarked skillet. $53. Yeah, that's about what it would go for just an unmarked old skillet like that. Let's see, why was this one here? 171. 2 unmarked skillets, unbranded. I don't think they're unbranded exactly, but let's see. Not a whole lot of pictures to go with. Yeah, kind of worth taking a chance on. I might have paid $100 for the two of them, even though you couldn't quite tell what they are. But 177 or 171. It's a bit more than I care to gamble on something like that. But yeah, I would probably pay $50 a piece for the two of those. Just because you can tell they're older skillets. I mean, you're not gonna be losing money at $50 a piece on them. And who knows, once you get them cleaned up, what they might be. Let's see, vintage unmarked cast iron, number 8. Where? I know I've seen it here. I don't think it's. Oh, yeah. This one here is a number 9, and you can't really see a name on it, but right here you can see a star. So this is probably either a National or a Wagner number 9, from 1910 ish, either way, either side of that. But 250, that's a good bit more than what they sell for. I think somebody figured that was a number 9 Erie that had a maker's mark on it. Some of the really early Erie skillets have stars, anchors, different sort of maker's marks on them, but they're usually not. Let me get back here. Usually when you see maker's marks, they're down, around in here, around the number, but that star there, like I said, you can just, let me embiggen this a little bit. You might be able to see it better. You can just see the star right here, and maybe a little bit of lettering, but nothing really clear. But yeah, that's just about definitely a National, or some Wagners had a star on them like that. So yeah, I think somebody misidentified that, because 250 is 259 is way more than you should pay for something like that. 80, 90 bucks. Well, it's number 9. So probably 80 to 100 for something like that is kind of the going rate. And you can usually find them cheaper than that too. Look at all the number 9s I'm showing. Yeah, that was quite a run of them on there. Let me see, you get caught back up. Yeah, I found a National 9 with a star, but you only gave 40 for it. Yeah, like I said, that was definitely more than it was worth. Like I said, I'm betting somebody thought that was a Erie, an Erie with a Erie with a maker mark on it. Which was this vintage Wagner? Oh yeah, I got the old ARC logo. That's from the 1890s up until maybe 1905 ish. They kind of did away with them a little bit by then. But what size was that? Can't really make out a size. About 14 across, 18, 14. No, if it's 14, that's a hell of a big one. But it doesn't look that big. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say what that sell for. 53 bucks. That's a pretty good price for it, even if it was number 8 for number 8 for that price. By getting the flu shot, I think I already had one this year. Yeah, I might have. I'm trying to remember if I did or not. Total pro when it comes to cast iron. Yeah, I mean, I know quite a bit, but there's so much more that I don't know, which is why we do these things. I mean, everybody kind of shares what they know, and you can learn a lot of stuff from everybody else. This was kind of nice. 86 bucks for an old a Wagner flat bottom pot. I like the flat bottom pots. I mean, they're a bit handier than the cauldron style with the 3 little legs on them, because you got a nice flat bottom, and you can you can brown stuff up, and they sit flat if you're using them like a Dutch oven. But this has a lid for it. I don't know if that's the matching lid for it. That's an arc straight, early 1900s kind of logo on it. I don't know if that's actually the factory lid for it, but even though it's a number 8 size, number 8 lids do not fit them right. I got a couple of those actually. I've got one that has holes drilled in it, and I got one that's intact that I use. And I have a enameled Descoware lid that fits perfectly, but no other number 8 lids I have actually fit that right. So if that lid looks like it fits it right, that's definitely worth $86. And like I said, I don't know if that lid came with it, but it fits. So that's something you're never going to find. Let's see here. But yeah, I like the flat bottom pots, because they, like I said, you can brown your meat up if you're making soup or something like that. You can brown your stuff up and do it all in one pan pretty easily with one of those. Let's see. Number 9, Wagner. Oh yeah, that's definitely an older one. Like I said, that the ARC logo like that. Yeah, that's 1890s up until the early 1900s. A number 9, and looks to be pretty nice shape. There's no obvious cracks or breaks. $78. That's a pretty good price for those. I mean, I've seen them go a lot higher. It's a fair price. I've seen them go, as much as 175. So that's it's definitely a good price for that. Nothing out of line, that's for sure. Let's see. That's an old Wagner lid. It's got the the bullseye pattern on it. Renfro-ware lids on the outside anyway look the same. I think they have one less line, or one less, I think. But they got the lines on the outside, and they're pretty much the same shape. But the Renfro-ware lids, or the Wagner lids, you can see they got that kind of string of beads, kind of sawtooth pattern on these drip rings, and that's really distinctive for Wagner-ware. Where the Renfro-ware, they have a star shape, kind of an asterisk of little pointy drip tips on them. But yeah, the Wagner-ware, you can definitely spot one when you see those kind of string of beads, sawtooth looking drip rings. These ones here got a little buildup on them, but you can see they got that shape to them. And $50, yeah, for a lid by itself, that's usually what you're going to pay for it. Did you see the hilted skillet? Yeah, those are cool. I've seen those before. It's a, in case you're wondering, Huey posted it on the Facebook page. They call them hilted skillets. It's a skillet, and it looks like it has a sword hilt for a handle on it. Pretty cool looking little skillets. What's a good price for a number 7 Griswold Dutch oven with a lid? Yeah, they're harder to find. Usually most Griswold Dutch ovens, for like an 8, goes for 125 to 150 usually. But the the sevens, you're probably looking at 150, 175, maybe a little more. It's been a bit since I saw a number 7 sell, but they're not they're not real common. So you're gonna definitely spend more on it than you would for number 8. I've been at this an hour, but we're almost done with all these, so we'll finish these up. Let's see, which is this? Another Wagner. That one is nickel plated. Looks like the nickel plating is actually in better shape than it looks to be. I think that's mostly buildup. That would probably clean up pretty good. That's another number 9. Just to torment Cynthia with it. I think that would actually clean up pretty good. That looks like it's mostly buildup and not worn off or really rusted bad. Let me see what the bottom look like again. Yeah, it's hard to say on the bottom, but probably not as right now the bid's 95. Yeah, I mean if you get it for less than 150, you're probably doing pretty good. But it depends if you want to spend that much on there. Your number 7 Grizz lid price is off the chart. Yeah, I mean the odd sized what's the point of those spikes? Yeah, somebody mentioned here there, so the condensation drips back into your food, makes them self-basting. You're a lot calmer since you got your number 9. But yeah, $75 for that. It's about the going rate. Usually plated stuff goes for a bit less than the same thing non-plated, unless the plating is really, really pristine. So if you don't mind a little wear on the plating, a lot of times you can get the same thing with a little bit of plating that's a little bit worn a good bit cheaper than you can the same thing in just plain cast iron. $51. This is an aluminum flat bottom Wagner pot. It's got the lid for it, aluminum lid. But what's cool about this is, get the bottom here, that's the Arc Straight logo. They kind of wedged the wear in the middle of used to just be Wagner Sydney, and when they were transitioning from this style of logo to the stylized logo with the fancy W and Wagner wear and just one W, when they were transitioning, they kind of stuck the wear into the middle on a lot of things, mostly on Dutch ovens, flat bottom pots like this. There's a few other things you see, but yeah, that's a little bit of an unusual sort of transitional logo. Around 1915, 1920, in that period is when they did that. And it's just an interesting little thing. And $51, that's not too bad of a price for it. And I'm sure, a good part of that is because it is that transitional logo like that. What have we got here? I think, yeah, that's the Arc Straight logo that they kind of stuck the wear into the middle. And that's a number 9 skillet, I think that is. But again, $77. That's about what they go for. And I think we got one last thing left here. Yep. This is the 1402. It's a skillet lid and a chicken fryer bottom. They're usually plated, and they've got, I don't know if they show the top of it, they got kind of a funky handle on them. There's another version of that has a round hole in the handle. They usually just say a Wagner ware on them, but I forget which part number they are. But these are the 1402. They both say 1402 on it. In the back, they show the, let's see. Whoops. I hate when I do that. It's got the bullseye, round ring patterns on them. And the plating looks a little bit ugly on the lid. Come on. There's the bottom. Wagner ware. And down here is 1402. A or B, I forget which the bottom is. I think the bottom is 1402B. It looks like the hook on the lid might be a little bit broke off or worn down. But $46. It's a pretty decent price for it. Definitely a nice using thing. There you can see a little better. It's got the bullseye rings on top. But that's the last of these, so we can wind this up. And the cat wandered off. So let's see here. I want to stop sharing. There we go. I'll get my lighting worked out again because it's kind of exactly wrong. Again, I had it worked out for the summer, but days are getting short, and I'll have to figure out again how to do it. With my light on up there, it just blows everything out with this on. What's that, microscope? Don't you be looking at that microscope. I want that. That looks like a more of an inspection scope. I'd have to bring this back up here. Let me share screen. There we go. And I will allow it. There we go. Yeah, like I said, it looks more like more of an inspection scope. I think it goes up to either 10 or 15 power. But it looks like it gets up off the table maybe 4 or 5 inches. Between the two sliders. 127 zoom. Yeah, it is 7.0. So it's not a huge magnification, but pretty like I said, it looks like you run it up a fair distance. Yeah, like I say, it looks more like an inspection scope kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see what this goes for. I don't know if I'd pay a whole lot more than that, but it's still got a day or so left on the bidding. Be great for your watch repair class. Yeah, it'd be handy for for working on watches and clocks. Like I said, it goes up to 7 power. Be nice if it was a little bit stronger, but that still makes a hell of a big difference. Anyway, we posted the number 7 Dutch oven in the case somebody's interested. Alrighty. Let's see. I enjoyed the show. Thank you much, Cynthia. I got a really old one in a wooden case. It was one of the first produced. Yeah, it's kind of hard, some of the inspection scopes. I've worked with inspection scopes where you're, let me get this off here, where what you're looking at is, I mean, you got like a foot and a half of relief between the scope and the thing you're inspecting, and they got a lot higher magnification. That might be kind of useful. Like I said, if it only goes up to 7, I'd rather have something that goes up to 10 or 15. But we'll see. Anyhow, we've been at this for an hour and 11 minutes. So I think we can call her a day here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let me try and get the last few. If your eyes are as bad as yours, scope would come in handy. Yeah, they definitely come in handy now and then. Like I said, I've been kind of looking for one. If I could find something with about, that goes from like 5 to 15 power would be about ideal. Take care of myself. Yes, I'm definitely going to take care of myself. Get to feeling better soon. Well, I already am a bit. Like I said, once my head clears out, I'll have the world by the ass then, I think. So, should be back next week. I don't see any reason why not, barring any disasters or catastrophes in the meantime. So I'll see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as always, it's been a lot of fun. Later.